Hi there, everybody. We are back, and we are speaking with Jeremy Litchfield, the president and founder of Atayne LLC, the company that manufactures socially and environmentally responsible performance apparel. Jeremy, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, it's a great treat to have you down here. I've heard about Atayne for the longest time. And now we have the opportunity to learn more about the product. And for me, the most fascinating thing is that in the most general sense, you're making performance apparel out of recycled materials. Please explain, because I think a lot of people just might have a hard time getting their head around that one.
Sure. Well, when I started the company, it was really out of dissatisfaction what was out there for performance apparel, and I just had an experience with some of the gear that I had where
the red
dye just bled all over me, and I just started doing research, and I realized that the way a lot of this stuff is made is out of line with the values I have around the environment and human safety. But at the same time is when a lot of innovation was happening with materials and being able to use plastic bottles to make polyester. And because when you think about polyester and #1 plastics, they're actually the same chemical form. It's just they're in kind of different forms.
Is that right?
And so I realized that was the direction I wanted to go, and just decided to quit my job and start a company that made performance apparel from recycled fabrics.
Right, and it's been the best work you've ever done ever
yes,
since, right? And
the
also
hardest,
the hardest too.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you like what you're doing, you know, it's not work and all that, and that's great. I mean, can you elaborate on the process here? I mean, for layman terms, I suppose. I mean, is a bottle, is it melted down and then turned into string, and then you're weaving it?
Yeah. So essentially, if you think about a lot of, it's what's interesting is states like Maine probably supply a lot of the stock that go into higher value items like fabric because they're clean. Plastic bottles because we have a redemption here. And essentially, what has happened is the mills that we work with, they buy the bottles from a lot of municipal recycling facilities, and they get cleaned and chipped down, and eventually they'll just get melted and extruded, and they go into very, very fine fibers, like finer than a human hair. And those get spun together to create a recycled polyester yarn.
I see.
And then those yarns, different types of yarns go into different types of fabrics, but those get knit together to make our fabrics.
Right. And you're weaving them up in Brunswick?
No,
you're getting the fabric, right?
The fabric. All of our fabrics in our yarns are made in North Carolina with some that we work with a couple of mills down there.
Yeah, I mean that's textile territory, right?
Exactly.
That's what they do.
Yeah. There used to be a lot. There used to be some in Massachusetts, a little bit in Maine, but it's primarily down in the Carolinas where you can get actually domestic sourced fabrics now.
Right. Well, I mean that's another feature that I think again people are not aware of. It's the just-in-time manufacturing process using materials that are so sourced nationally. Again, I mean that sort of process is something that's almost foreign to most people now because it's like, well, it just comes in from Asia and that's that.
Yeah. Well, when I started the company, I literally had no money. I was just starting it and had a little bit, and it was on a shoestring, and I realized that. I was like, okay, well, I have to figure out how I can sell product and then make it, and that made me develop a lean, made-to-order production process. And that was also driven a lot by environmental values. Is when you look at the apparel industry in general, a lot of this stuff is being made a year to 18 months in advance, and people are guessing what's going to be wanted on the market.
That's right.
And anytime you're using resources to make things that aren't needed or wanted, you're using resources that
guesswork.
And so I was like, how about we develop a model that's designed to make sure that we're getting customers really what they want in terms of designs and styles, and also being much more sensitive on the environment, not only in terms of the materials, but the process. And that just opened up a whole new line of business for us in terms of how we can actually service our customers.
Right. And you're a runner, so you knew exactly what kind of shirt is going to speak to the running community.
Exactly.
And I mean, what is the most popular product, for example, or what is?
Really, we have so many different designs that we do, just because a lot of our stuff is like to call it hyper personalized. It's very customized, not only to individual groups, but also we have a lot where people can go on and they can customize their own products on different websites.
Really?
So we really want to focus on serving the needs of people to the individual, not just at the group level. But ultimately we do, right now, over the last couple of years, just our cycling jerseys in general have exploded. It's been an area of growth for us.
Wonderful.
And something that we brought in later, originally we were focused on running,
Right.
and started to get more into cycling, and that's been a huge area of growth for us. So we do a lot of cycling jerseys for events and clubs. And it's just a basic cycling jersey is one of our most popular items.
Yeah, well, you brought one along, right?
I did.
Well, let's take a look.
Yeah,
Let's see. That's great.
So this is actually from our friends over at the Bicycle Coalition of Maine. This is the jersey we do for the lobster ride that we've done the last couple of years. And it's the fabric is just like any performance fabric.
Sure.
You would never know the difference. And with our products, we always try to make sure that we're going the extra step of adding features to it that you wouldn't normally get in products that are priced at our level. I mean, we're not competing with the super high-end cycling gear, but we're not low-end either. But just simple things like having a gripper elastic at the bottom, doing a full zip, and really using a high-quality zipper,
and the zipper is hidden.
Exactly. And most hidden zippers use a dress zipper, which it's a very low quality zipper that's very hard to get down. With this, we went with a more substantial, nicer zipper and used a lap construction over the zipper to hide it, which it's a little bit more expensive to do that, but that's important for us. And just simple things like having a zipper garage and a wind flap, so the actual zipper doesn't rest up against your skin, and just trying to do small attention to details like that, and having the 3 pockets in the back, which is pretty standard.
That's right.
But we try to really focus on super, some of the details that you might not get. From other
that's right. And then there's this sublimation process.
And this is the actual. This is all done up in Brunswick. About 2 years ago, we opened our own sublimation facility, and about a year ago, we moved it onto the old Navy base on Brunswick Landing and and do all of our sublimation right there. Right
on. Well, I mean, this is a fascinating, to know that such a large operation is so nearby. I mean, when you talk to your customers, are they making a connection between your products and Maine, or are they seeing more of the environmental and social aspects of it, or all three?
I think it's all three. Because I think we have the benefit of being and actually, I originally started the company. We were based out of Washington, D.C., or Northern Virginia.
Well, that's part of Maine, too.
And, And I grew up in Maine, decided after about a year and a half, I moved the company up to Maine, which most people would say you're crazy to move a business to Maine, but that's where my heart was. And I think, but also being a company based in Maine, when people from out of the state hear that, there's instant credibility in terms of how you operate that people assume because of companies like L.L. Bean and Tom's of Maine. So people just instantly, when they know that we're from Maine, they make that connection. It just makes sense to them that we have very strong environmental and social values. But there's also going to be a quality component to it. And so moving to Maine wasn't just about coming back and being home, but it was also about being able to tell a story about the company, type of company we want to be.
Yeah, I mean, and so much has changed since Tom's of Maine and L.L. Bean. I mean, in those days it was rotary phones and that's it. But now you can run a national, global operation from your garage or from your, the old Navy base in Maine, and it's the 21st century. It's all good. Now, what about future products? I mean, will you be going into jackets and this kind of direction? Or
absolutely. We're always trying to figure out what's the our goal, and we always say that we make progressive outdoor and active apparel, and by progressive, it's like how are we pushing boundaries on everything we do of moving things forward, and not just thinking about materials, but manufacturing processes and making sure that we're developing and bringing new products in that are right for our audience. So from a cycling standpoint, that's a big area of growth for us right now. We want to be, we're working on being able to outfit the cyclist head to toe, really. And so we're cycling shorts and bibs and jackets and long sleeve jerseys. Our next cycling item that's actually going to come out, which should launch in the next few weeks, is a women's sleeveless jersey, which is pretty popular. And then
for these event rides.
Exactly. And so there's a whole, we have so many products in our pipeline right now. It's just figuring out what is the right time
which
to
ones
bring
to
them.
choose.
It's hard. It's hard as a bootstrap company to figure that out.
And your customers are not just in Maine, although there are some. Where can we see these?
Yeah, we have a lot of customers in Maine. Maine has been very good to us. We work with everyone from the Bicycle Coalition of Maine to Center Street Cycles in Brunswick to Cadillac Mountain Sports up in Ellsworth and Bar Harbor, and a lot of different cycling groups. Like we work with the Gritty McDuff cycling team and the Merry Meeting Wheelers and the Dempsey Challenge. So we work with a lot within Maine, but Maine is actually a fraction of our business, which is good because it gives a small Maine company like us exposure to much larger markets.
Like they're riding their bikes in Australia right now. And to ship a jersey there, it's
we just
easy.
we just shipped an order to New Zealand for one of our jerseys. So we're shipping international.
It's as far away from Maine as you can get.
Pretty much, yeah. I think it is.
Antarctica. Well, that's great. And then just locally, the stores where people can see them are any locations in particular that you would like to mention?
Yeah, Center Street Cycles is a great customer, and Cadillac Mountain Sports are the big ones. And then
and the website.
Yeah, and the website. And we're actually getting ready to hopefully within the next few weeks is launch a new collection of jerseys on our website for the national parks and the 100th anniversary of the national parks. So we're going to be developing some around Acadia and a variety of national parks.
That's exciting stuff. That's great stuff, Jeremy. Thanks so much. It's that's about all the time we have. But if you want to see more, you can certainly go to the website. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that's all we have time for today. Thanks very much for watching the show. Again, you can see more about the show, allthingsbiketv.com, and you can see more about Atayne and Kettle Cove Enterprises. Don't go away. We will be back with John Baldwin and Bike Tour.